Okay, we're on Memvav Amabez. We're on 46. We're 46b, 3. All right? Yeah. B3. 46b3. Omer Rabbi Yehuda Bereder of Shmuel Bar Shilas. The right bottom column. Omer Rabbi Yehuda Bereder of Shmuel Bar Shilas Mishmei the Rav. Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Shmuel Bar Shilas, said in the name of Rav. So what does he say? Shmini Sufik Shvi. If you have, let's say, you're in regarding the Gemara now is going to talk about going to the Sukkah on the 8th day of Sukkot, where it's a question whether it's they weren't sure if today is day 8 of the holiday or today is day 7 of the holiday. Status regarding going to the Sukkah on such a time on Shmini Atzeret, on the 8th day of the holiday. Shmini suffix Shvi, the 8th day, where it's a question whether it's the 7th day of the holiday or not. We treat it again. So what's the case? Let's say we're here in New York, and we just finished this. Now we're up to 8th day of the holiday. So Shmini Atzeret. So Shmini Atzeret, we know we're going to say Kiddush. We'll talk about, we'll talk about Shmini Atzeret Tazeh. But the question is, but there was a question whether it's the 7th day. And if it's the 7th day, so I should have to sit in the Sukkah. So would I sit in the Sukkah? Would I say a bracha on the sitting of the Sukkah? So we say Shmini suffix Shvi. The 8th, again, the Torah's holiday, the holiday of Sukkot is a 7-day holiday. But outside of Israel, where there was a question, where you're not sure if today's the 7th day of the holiday or the 8th day, what do you do? So the first opinion says, Shmini suffix Shvi, Shvi'i Sukkah. Regarding the Sukkah, you need to treat it like the seventh day. If you're not sure if today's day 7 or day 8, so you have to be strict. And what do you have to do? You have to go ahead and sit in the Sukkah. Now, right, the issue back then, they don't know whether you're going, whether today, which it's just today day 8 a holiday, today's day 7 a holiday. So he says, so regarding sitting in the Sukkah, you should sit in the Sukkah. But regarding saying the bracha, Shmini lebracha, regarding when you pray, when you say Birkat HaMazon, when you say Kiddush, you mention, you treat it like the 8th day regarding bracha, regarding the bracha of anything related to the brachot. Birkat HaMazon, we say Ya'aleh V'Yavo, right? But Ya'aleh V'Yavo, good morning, Max. In Ya'aleh V'Yavo, you say you talk about Shmini Atzeret being a Chag Atzeret Hazeh. You talk about the Chag Atzeret. You mention it in the Kiddush. You talk about that it's a Chag Atzeret. That's how you're going to deal with this 8th day regarding. So we're making a split. Max, just to bring Max up to date, we're talking about, let's say, outside of Israel, where they didn't know when they sanctified the new moon. So they didn't know if the month had 29 days the previous month or 30 days. If it had 29 days, so day 30 was the first day of the month. And then 14 days later was the 15th of the month, which starts the holiday of Sukkot. But if there was 30 days in the month, and then day 31 was the first day of the holiday, and then only then you start counting. So when they were in Israel, they knew by the time the 15th day of the month came, they knew when they sanctified the new month. The communications, because they sanctified the new month in Israel itself. We're talking about I would say, a couple of thousand years ago. But outside of Israel, they didn't know. Outside of Israel, the word did not get to Babylon. The communications, the traveling to get the word from Israel to Iraq, so to speak, could take more than 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get the word out that would reach the Jews throughout the Iraqi and other countries. How far is Iraq from Israel? It's not around the corner, right? So, and remember, the traveling wasn't by jet. So therefore, they weren't sure. So since they weren't sure, they would keep 2 days of the holiday. They weren't sure if today the first day, tomorrow was the first day of the holiday, because they didn't know when did they say Rosh Chodesh. So that's so now we have now they have a question. Good morning, Eric. Okay, we don't know if today's the holiday is not the holiday. So how do we act regarding Sukkah? How do we act regarding Lulav? So the Gemara says that so here the Gemara is talking about regarding Sukkah. The Gemara is focusing on the midst of Sukkah. Regarding Sukkah, welcome, Aaron. Regarding Sukkah, if they're not sure, so he says you're going to sit in the Sukkah. If you're not sure if today might be the holiday of Sukkot, right? The holiday of Sukkot is a 7-day holiday. And now you're not sure if today's day 7 of the holiday or day 8. So what do you do if you have a doubt? So you have to be strict regarding Sukkah. Sukkah is the mitzvah min HaTorah. So if the mitzvah min HaTorah, you have to go ahead and what? Be strict. Regarding Etrog, which we said, between day 2, only obligation min HaTorah is day 1. So if you're not sure if today is day 7 or day 8, the obligation of Lulav after day 1 is rabbinic, to remember the Mikdash. So now you're not sure if today's day 7 or day 8, you have a suffix in a rabbinic law. So what's the rule of suffix in a rabbinic law? Suffix Rabbanan, you can be lenient. So therefore, that's an approach of the Ran in the Peretz, that the Gemara doesn't even discuss the issue of etrog. Would you take the etrog on Shmini Atzeret? You notice, do we take the etrog on Shmini Atzeret? No. We sit in the Sukkah on Shmini Atzeret. We go to the Sukkah on the 8th day of the holiday. We don't say the Bracha Leishev Sukkah, but do we go to the Sukkah on the 8th day of the holiday outside of Israel? Yes. We go to the Sukkah on the 8th day of the holiday. We don't say the Bracha Leishev Sukkah. Why are we more strict regarding Sukkah than Lulav, right? So this is a beautiful answer that some say. I'm talking about the Gola. We're talking about out. No. So let's explain that, David. We make why is day 8? Why is day 8 in day 8 and day we make Yom Tov day 8? We make Shmini. We do Shmini Atzeret. The Torah says that on the 8th day of the holiday, the 8th day of is Shmini Atzeret. The Torah says, "Bayom Shmini Atzeret Tivachem." The 8th day of the holiday of Sukkot is Shmini Atzeret. Outside of Israel, they didn't know if today's day 8 of the holiday or is tomorrow day 8. So they would make, outside of Israel, you make Shmini Atzeret day 8 and day 9. That's exactly what we do today. How many days of the holiday of Sukkot do we have? We have 9 days of holiday in America. We have Hoshana Rabbah's day 7, and then we have Shmini Atzeret, and then we have Simchat Torah. Simchat Torah is day 9, but Simchat Torah is Shmini Atzeret. Really, if you're in prayer, when you Simchat Torah, you what do you say in the prayers when you on Simchat Torah? You refer to Simchat Torah as what? Shmini Atzeret. The Kiddush on Simchat Torah is what? Is Shmini Atzeret. So Simchat Torah is really the second of the days of Shmini Atzeret. The same way the Torah says the first day of Sukkot is whole. It has that holiness of Yom Tov. And we keep, outside of Israel, we have day 1 and day 2. is Yom Tov because of the time period that they weren't sure if today is day one of the holiday or tomorrow day one of the holiday, right? Right, Max? So therefore they kept 2 days of holiday because it was only about, the Torah says the 15th of the day of Tishrei, the 15th of the 7th month is holiday. But outside of Israel, they didn't know, is today day 15 or tomorrow's day 15? What'd it say? Right. So I think in the time, you're right, Ralph. In those days, I would think they had to keep. I would think outside of Israel, they would have kept they would have kept 2 days. I would think. It's a good question. Did they fast the 2 days or not? We'd have to look it up. But I mean, what logically, if you're not sure if today's Yom Kippur, tomorrow's Yom Kippur, I wonder if we have to look up the Gemara if it says they have to. If you remind me, I'll look it up. If they would have fasted both days, that'd be a tough one to fast for 2 days. I mean, so the Gemara says. So the Gemara says. So one opinion says regarding. So that's why the Gemara is not talking about lulav. Lulav, you're not going to need to take the lulav on Shmini out of a question that maybe today is day 7. See, when we deal mostly with Shmini Atzeret, we deal with day 8 and day 9, right? Because because the reason why we keep day 9 is because there was a time period they weren't sure if today maybe day 9 is day 8. But now our Gemara is focusing. What our Gemara is focusing is on day 7. Now we're talking about. We want to know. We're talking about day 7 and day 8. What's the issue? The issue is what we call Shmini Atzeret, the first day of Shmini Atzeret. We have 2 days Shmini Atzeret in America, right? We have 2 days which we celebrate Shmini Atzeret. There's only 1 day Shmini Atzeret. The Torah only says 8-day holiday. But because they had a time period, they didn't know if today's day 8 or tomorrow's day 8. That's why we keep the 2 days. Simchat Torah is a later. It's not. Simchat Torah is not the biblical. There's no biblical law. It's a name they gave to the last day of the holiday, but it's not. But really, the truest, the real name is it's Shmini Atzeret. It's 2 days of Shmini Atzeret. Like Pesach also they call the 7th day Shvita Pesach. They call the last day the Achron Shel Chag. But really, the last day of the holiday. But really, it's why do we have 2 days of the end of Pesach? Because also they weren't sure is today day 7 or tomorrow's day 7. So they kept 2 days holiday. Listen. If they kept 2 days holiday out of question, so they didn't work for 2 days. Just like today, we don't go to work for 2 days at the end of the holiday. In Israel, they had no question. They go to work on the 8th day of we have the 8th day of Pesach that we are not working. They're working. They're going to work in Israel because it's not a holiday for them.
1 day.
It's one.
5 days on the way, then 1 day at the end.
And that's it, exactly. 7 days, total 7 days of space Pesach. Now, I would like to say, in a positive note, some people will say, I like to say, we have an advantage in America. That we have we may have it to holidays for 8 days. We have an extra day. Right, we didn't know, but it's true. But at the end of the day, I think, in my opinion, it works out for us. We have an advantage. We have more holidays. We get 2 extra holidays, 2 extra days of Yom Tov when it comes to Pesach. We get 2 extra days of Yom Tov when it comes to what? Sukkot. We get an extra day of Yom Tov when it comes to Shavuot. And Rosh Hashanah in Israel is also 2 days. Right. These are all the mitzvot. Right. Rosh Hashanah is the only holiday in Israel that they kept for 2 days. Why? Because in Israel, because Rosh Hashanah is the first day of the month. So they also didn't know when was, even Israel, to get the word out throughout the whole state of Israel the same day, you got to get it out on the same day. You got to get it. How is they going to reach Tel Aviv the first day of the holiday? Therefore, they keep what? That's why you're here, David. Right? That's why they kept it. That's why they kept in Israel 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. The Torah only says there's one day called Rosh Hashanah. So now it's clarity, right? So that's why they got. That's why in Israel they got 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. By the time Sukkot comes 15 days later, they know already in Israel they got the word out. It reached Tel Aviv. By the time 15th of the month came, they reached Tel Aviv. They know when they sanctified the new moon. But it didn't reach Iraq. It didn't reach Bavel necessarily. Rosh Hashanah, they didn't know in Tel Aviv. Today they sanctified Rosh. Today, how much time you have today to get the word out? A couple hours to get the word out. How can you get the word out in one day? Therefore, they kept 2 days of Sukkot.
It's the first day. How would they even know that? If they had records, did they make a mistake with the first day?
No, so the first day is because they had witnesses. This is talking about the time period. Witnesses would say, "We see the moon," and therefore they would come. They would come to the court, and the court would examine them, and then they would come to a decision to say. And then they sent the messages. They got the word out. Then messages on. They lit torches. They lit torches on and from one hilltop to another hilltop to be able to send. Get the word out. They did the best. They did their best to get the word out. So now Al Gemara is referring to what did they do regarding Shmini Atzeret? What you do on the 8th day holiday? But here the Gemara's issue here is regarding, do we sit in the Sukkah on the 8th day holiday? Because remember, the 8th day holiday might really be the 7th day of the holiday. So it's true you started the holiday 8 days ago, but you're not sure if today is day 8 or day 7. So if you're not sure, and we said sitting in Sukkah, all 7 days of the holiday, if you're going to have a bread meal, there's a biblical obligation to sit in a sukkah for a bread meal any day of the holiday. Day 7, you have a biblical obligation. Exactly. That would mean, right? That means you would start on the wrong day. You weren't sure and you did it out of doubt, right? You're not sure, right? Exactly. You still don't know. By the time the 8th day of the holiday came, they didn't know necessarily what is this today 8th day or day 7. So on the one hand, in Israel, they had more clarity in what they would do. But on the other hand, outside of Israel, we gained, because I think some people don't have the proper attitude towards the extra days of Yom Tov that we have in America over Israel. Like some people who don't have the right hashkafa, who don't have the right mindset and attitude towards holidays. And they say, it's hard to have that extra 2 days of Yom Tov. But I'm afraid to say that they don't have it right. They don't have an appreciation of holiday the way they should. But if they would have an appreciation of holiday, they wouldn't complain. They wouldn't hear what I'm saying. They wouldn't say, I'm missing another day of work. I can't trade that day. Second state is tough. That type of thing, I think, is something on the contrary. We have to, right, David? We got to train the people to be much more appreciative. What do you say, Max? And feel, wow, this is an advantage that we have. What? An extra day of holiday we got. Let's say another day to be with the family. Another day of festivity. Another day to be with another day of simcha. That's what great food, great atmosphere. So that's what and that's the proper attitude that we should. And you know what? The fact that we have it's for our best. That's how we have to realize. So the Gemara the first opinion says interesting. You're going to sit in the sukkah on the 8th day of the holiday, but regarding kiddush and Birkas Hamazon, you're going to mention Shmini. You're going to mention Shmini Atzeret. You're going to call it Shmini Atzeret. Now, let's see. There was any commentary on this. Okay, we'll see a little bit more. Let's wait for the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan argues. He says Shmini lezeh. He says regarding Sukkah, we're also going to treat it like the 8th day of the holiday. What does that mean regarding Sukkah? So which sounds like he's saying You don't sit in the sukkah on Shmini Atzeret. This opinion, at least that one understanding of this opinion, we'll see the Gemara. We're going to treat the eighth day, which is a question if it's seventh day, we're going to treat it like day 8 regarding sukkah as well, and therefore we're not going to sit in this. We'll see. Maybe we might not need to sit in the sukkah. Let's see. The Gemara is going to explain in a minute. Now, the Gemara now explains the argument. Meitav. So now the Gemara does not take that approach that I just said. The Gemara has a different understanding of the approach, because the obvious question is, how can we say you don't sit in the sukkah on day 8? How could you consider day 8, which is a question if it's day 7, just consider, make believe it's only day 8. Maybe it's day 7. If it's day 7, you have to sit in the sukkah. You might be violating a biblical obligation of sitting outside the sukkah. So when he says it's day 8 regarding sukkah, he's not referring to regarding sitting in the sukkah. Rather, he's referring to say the bracha of leishev basukkah. Meaning, we said everybody agrees you got to sit in the sukkah day 8. That's going to be the first approach of the Gemara, because day 8 might be day 7, so you might be in violation of the biblical law of sitting in the sukkah on day 7. If you're not going to, if what you call day 8 and don't sit in the sukkah, that might be day 7. Therefore, he says, everybody kuliyama. You have to sit in the sukkah on day 8. But why? Because day 8 might be day David, right? Might be day 7. What's the argument? That one mem zayin amarav. Regarding saying the bracha. But now on 47a, 1. Regarding, now you're telling me you got to sit in the sukkah on day 8, which is exactly what we do. But do you say a bracha leishei b'sukkah, right? There's a special bracha that we say before we eat in the sukkah. We will make kiddush. We say after kiddush. What do we do in sukkah? What do? We say kiddush, and then we say at the end of the kiddush, one of the brachot that we say is Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushem v'sotav v'tzivanu leishev b'sukkah. You've commanded us to sit in the sukkah. That's the bracha that precedes the mitzvah of dwelling in the sukkah. And during Chol Hamoed, the intermediate days, if you're having bread meal, what do? You say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and then you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushem v'sotav v'tzivanu leishev b'sukkah. You're saying a bracha. There's a bracha before the performance of the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah. What's the bracha? Leishev b'sukkah. Just like you say a bracha before you tie your tefillin. Before you tie your tefillin, you go in and you say what? A bracha, right? On the tefillin. You say a bracha on the tefillin. It's before you tie the tefillin. So you say a bracha before you what? Sit in the sukkah. So the question is, now that you're telling me that day 8, which is a question if it's day 7, I need to sit in the sukkah, would I say a bracha on that sitting of the sukkah? Would I say a bracha of leishev basukkah? So the Gemara says, the bruchi, regarding, the argument is regarding, do I say a bracha on day 8? Do I mention sukkah on day 8? The Mandiyama, according to the opinion that says that day 8 outside of Israel is Shvi'i, the Sukkah, that we treat it like the 7th day regarding the mitzvah of Sukkah, Bruchi Nami Mivachina. He holds you would actually have to say the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushem v'sotav v'tzivanu leishev b'sukkah. You would say a bracha, which is an interesting idea, because wouldn't you say the rule of Safek D'Rabbanan L'Kula? Meaning you have a question of sitting in the sukkah, which would be a biblical law to sit in the sukkah. That is a Safek D'Oraita, when I need to sit in the sukkah or not. But the bracha of Leishev B'sukkah, saying a bracha on the sitting is a rabbinic law. There's no Torah mitzvah. The Torah does not say you have to say a bracha before you put on your tefillin. The Torah doesn't say you have to say a bracha before you put on your talit. The Torah says put on the talit, put on the tefillin, make tzitzit to put on tefillin. Because the Torah tells you to go ahead. The Torah tells you to other mitzvot. The Torah says, let's say if you hold dipping utensils in the mikveh is min Torah, with those opinions. Torah wants you to dip it in the mikveh. They have to say a bracha before you dip it in the mikveh. The Torah didn't give you a bracha before you perform the mitzvah. The concept of saying a bracha before you do a mitzvah, whether it's a rabbinical mitzvah or a biblical mitzvah, is a rabbinic law. It's a rabbinic law to say a bracha before you perform a mitzvah. Being that's the case, so why would there be an opinion to say that if you're not sure if today is day 7 or day 8, you say a bracha on that mitzvah? You say a bracha. It should be a suffix d'Rabbanan, but the bracha itself is a rabbinic question. So, right, you might be saying God's name in vain. If you want to, the fact that you'll tell me sit in the sukkah, it's not you're not doing anything that you might be doing saying God's name in vain. Right. Now, this opinion holds. You see, there is a machloket if you say a bracha on a suffix mitzvah. It seems like maybe, when you have a suffix d'Rabbanan l'kula, maybe there are opinions that say, but if it's a suffix mitzvah, maybe they don't apply the rule. Maybe let's say I would say perhaps if I have a question, if I need to say a bracha on this drink or not. So saying a bracha on drinks is rabbinic. So a safek, if I'm not sure if I need to say a bracha, because I'm not sure, I don't remember, did I say a bracha on the drink? I didn't say a bracha on the drink. Now, my drinking, I want to have a beer, is not necessarily a mitzvah. Not that I'm doing a mitzvah. I'm doing something, a voluntary thing. I want to have a beer. I want to have an ice cream. It's not a mitzvah. Maybe on Sukkot, maybe on the holiday, having good food and great food is a mitzvah. But the eating of that particular food, let's say, is not a mitzvah. I have no mitzvah to go ahead and eat today. If I want to have a beer or I want to have orange juice, I have no mitzvah to have orange juice today. If I'm not sure if I said a bracha on the orange juice or not, I don't say the bracha on the orange juice. If I'm not sure, so I technically can continue drinking without a bracha. But if it's a safek on a mitzvah, do I say, here I have a mitzvah that I'm going to do, it's a safek. It's a question, if I have this mitzvah, I don't have this mitzvah. It's a question whether I have the mitzvah now sitting in the sukkah, or I don't have the mitzvah. Is today day 7? Is today day 8? So it's a safek on a mitzvah. It's not a safek on something other time, on a voluntary option. There is a dispute if you say a bracha on a safek mitzvah, you might be doing a mitzvah, and you know what? And I need to perform this mitzvah because of this doubt. Meaning, I have a responsibility to sit in the sukkah on day 8, day 7, because I'm not sure, it might be day 7. So I have this obligation to be here today. But it's true, I got an obligation, and maybe I would have a rabbinic obligation. And generally, you make a bracha on it, or I might be a Torah. I mean, it's a suffix d'oraita l'chomra. So maybe it's a Torah responsibility, because if I have this mitzvah or not, suffix d'oraita l'chomra. But will I say a bracha on this doubtful mitzvah? I need to do the mitzvah, but would I have to say a bracha on this mitzvah which is done out of doubt? So that is a matter of question. So the first opinion seems to say that when he says we treat it regarding Sukkah. It's day 7 regarding Sukkah. He holds that you actually will make a bracha leishev Sukkah. That's not what we do. We sit in the Sukkah and say Shmini Atzeret. We do not say bracha. But there's an opinion in the Gemara, according to this understanding of the Gemara, that they would actually say a bracha on the sitting of the Sukkah.
Today, we know what time, when they.
Right, we know the calendar today also, right. Right, but remember, Ralph, isn't it interesting? We know the calendar, but we're saying Kiddush on day 9. We're making Kiddush on day, we're calling it Shmini Atzeret Hazeh, and we know it's not Shmini Atzeret. We know the calendar, but we still have the responsibility to treat it as holiday, and we still make the bracha. But here the Gemara says we're not going bruchi nami v'china. So this opinion says we'll actually go ahead and say the bracha on the sukkah. But l'man diyama shmini l'zeh l'zeh. But the opinion that says we treat it like the 8th day, both regarding sukkah and both regarding Shmini Atzeret, he holds bruchi lo mevachina. You will not say the bracha on the sukkah when it's the 8th day of the holiday. When you don't know it's day 8 or day 7, you will not say the bracha of leishev basukkah. We treat it like Shmini Atzeret all the way regarding all the brachot. Now, Rabbi Yochanan holds that all the prayers, all the blessings of the day have to be consistent. And it says in Kiddush and in the other prayers, we refer to this day as the 8th day of the holiday. We keep it as and by treating it as the 8th day, that's why people will give it the respect that it has. Meaning, but you could ask the question, why in our prayers do we consider call it Shmini Atzeret? It might not be Shmini Atzeret, it might be the 7th day of the holiday. Why do we call it Shmini Atzeret regarding the Birkat HaMazon? It might be day 7. So if you would not call it Shmini Atzeret, the people will say it's not a holiday. And they won't treat it with perhaps the proper respect. Maybe they will do malacha, they will do work. So therefore, it's much better. It's much better that we should treat it as we should call it Shmini Atzeret in the prayers, call it Shmini Atzeret in the Birkat HaMazon, so people will treat it with. But Shmini Atzeret means it's holiday. I can't work today, but once we're really going to call it Shmini Atzeret, it doesn't make sense to say bracha leishev basukkah. It's contradictory. You can't. How could you go and say bracha? You commanded us to sit in the sukkah. I mean, you're treating it as day 7 when you just called it day 8. So rather, what should you do? You're calling it day 8. You're calling it says, but when you sit in the sukkah, that's not looked at as so much contradictory to Shmini Atzeret, because people sit in the sukkah different times of the year as well. So therefore, it's not in your face. You're doing a contradictory act, and therefore, we'll tell you to go to the good morning, Boker Tov. We'll tell you to go to the sukkah. So therefore,
We have to do something like sukkah with throughout the year, that you can have a sukkah through the year, but then do like binyah or like.
you might need to move some of the schach around.
Would you say with no or would that be potentially like?
Actually, you're not. Again, you treat it. You have to treat it like the holiday of Sukkah. If the Sukkah is fine, the Sukkah that you prepared before the holiday just continues to exist, and you use that Sukkah. That's exactly what we do today. We go to the Sukkah on day 8. We leave everything alone, and we sit in it. Right, and we're going to have ramifications regarding. We can't take apart the Sukkah. Because it's holiday. So how?
Say it, say that the.
So so the conclusion is going to be the Gemara is going to say we do not say the bracha leisha b'sukkah. We go to the sukkah on day 8. We call it Shmini Atzeret all the way, and we don't mention sukkah in a bracha. We don't. You go into, let's say you go into the sukkah on Shmini Atzeret in the afternoon, and you're having a meal in the afternoon. Let's say you already finished Kiddush. You had an early lunch at 11 o'clock. Now, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're having another meal. And you go into the sukkah and you're washing. You don't say enough. You don't say Leisha Sukkah. You don't say anything. You just go to the sukkah. And similarly, when you at Friday night, at Shmini Atzeret at night, when you make the Kiddush Shmini Atzeret, you don't say the bracha Leisha Sukkah. You're in the sukkah, but you don't say the bracha on the sukkah. So that's what the Gemara says, and we're going to the sitting in the sukkah on Shmini Atzeret. The Torah, the holiday itself, the Torah says. The Torah says, I want the 8th day of the holiday. Shmini Atzeret, Torah says, the 8th day, God says, I want one more day of holiday. Torah says the 8th day of Sukkot. Right, it's right. What's the theme of it? It's like a father, a king, inviting his children to spend a week with him. And after the week, he spends time. He says, "You know what? I want one more day." Right. So it's definitely, most probably, I think, maybe the idea of Shmini Atzeret is to digest all the holidays that you had until now. You had Rosh Hashanah, you had Yom Kippur, you had Sukkot. Now we're gonna have one day to just, take all those lessons of all those holidays, but that's going to need to carry us for 6 months to Pesach. So we're going to have a long time period without holiday on a Torah level. Later on in history, we got 2 extra holidays in between. The rabbis enacted Hanukkah in between Pesach, Hanukkah and Purim. But so therefore, that could explain the extra day, because I'm not going to see you for 6 months. You're not going to come back you don't need to come back to the Beit HaMikdash for 6 months for the holiday. So therefore, it says, one more day, David. One more day, I want you at my table. How do you like that? Have a great day, everybody. Yeah, see you, continue tomorrow.
Working, not at all.
Right, so ideally, really, people shouldn't be working. It's a quasi-festival. But if people need to work for whatever reason, certain reasons, if there's going to be a loss, or there's certain allowances, there's certain type of work, there are allowances, certain type of work, in contrast to certain heavy work that we stay away from. There's certain types of work that are allowed, but it's recommended that it should be, what you need to do. It's not supposed to be just a person just be spending his whole day, when it's not, if it's not necessary, and making it like a regular normal weekday. Therefore, you have to dress a little better on Chol Hamoed. Your eating is supposed to be better on Chol Hamoed. Your drinking is supposed to be better on Chol Hamoed. You have to honor the day. It's a special day of Succah, of happiness. So, but if people go ahead and they just take off and they don't do anything with their time, it's also a problem.
Yeah.
So both are issues. But it's really a fest. It's supposed to be a festival, a quasi festival. So if people have certain, if you don't take care of something, you have a deadline or something, and you don't take care of it, there'll be a loss. So that will be a type of thing that's permitted to be done. Certain type of those, like there's a whole section of laws that deal with Chol Hamoed. One of the things is if there's going to be a loss.
It's over the weekend this year, I think, right?
So this year it's very short. It's Thursday, Friday. It's Thursday, Friday, Shabbat, and Sunday are the Chol Hamoed this year.
Okay, so yeah, this year anyway.
Right, it's not much anyways, but anything that if you let's say as a lawyer, you have deadlines, and if you don't get the deadline, you don't get it in, the case is over. There's a loss. So that would give you much more that type of work, your type of line of work that really has certain type of things that you shouldn't really push off things. Say, I'll take care of it on Chol Hamoed. I'm going to push that work. You can take care of it before the Chol Hamoed. But in your line of work, if you You're not working, it's not like you're building a building. It's not that type of heavy work. There's certain types of work that you can't do on Chol Hamoed. I mean, if you're a construction man, you want to build someone's house, you can't building his house on Chol Hamoed. There's certain types of work that are forbidden, and even the things that are permitted, certain types of things, it depends on the situation, what the situation is.
But I get you say, you know,
Right, and that's the ideal. Now, I think historically, most people in America went to work on Chol Hamoed. You know, they went to their job because they would lose their job or whatever. Maybe they weren't able to take off from their job. But the type of worker, they weren't automobile workers, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't they're working in that type of industry. You know, it's more of whatever, you know, type of office type of work, which is not that heavy type of work. I think historically people went to work. So that seems to be, but they really have to really ask the question, is it really warranted? Really, ideally, that's the time period you should take off from work. Plan your vacation, holiday time. Take your working, your holiday during this time period. Morning, Charles. Plan your vacation. That would be the ideal thing.
On when I am, but.
You know, B&H Photo, what, you know,
Yeah.
they close, Charles. Charles, I'm gonna try to call you later. Okay, they all close the whole day of the whole day of Pesach, the whole holiday of Pesach, the whole Chol Hamoed. You know, they're Hasidim, and I think the Hasidim, they wear their strimals on Chol Hamoed. You go to see, they wear they're not they dress like holiday. Say, what do you mean? So therefore, I presume that's why they are, you know, they're not going to work, and they're going to close the whole shop.
Control the shop and deal with all that. See how maybe there's one guy in the office that makes one phone call. You know, maybe that's like a distinction, but I totally understand why they don't want to open the doors and have everything showing up and.
Making it like a regular weekday.
Yeah, it becomes no different at all.
Right, exactly. Okay, I don't want to make you late. I'll put it away because I don't want you to be late to that.